I want to walk you through a practical example of how we are building a semi-autonomous software development workflow inside our Shopify app, FoxSell Slider. That's an early but functional layer of a broader multi-agentic architecture we're developing, where AI agents collaborate across support, products, engineering, and some other functions to help a Shopify app operate in a semi-autonomous way. Okay, let's start from the merchant side. I'm here in my theme editor, and I've just added this lovely slider. And I look at different settings, and I find the border radius adjustment they can make. So I put 15, and all of a sudden the edges become rounded, which is nice. But then it becomes pretty obvious that it would be also nice to make the buttons rounded. Well, unfortunately, if I look at the settings, there's no such setting here that would allow me to make the buttons round. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the dashboard, and I'm going to go into the in-app chat, and I'm going to type, I want my slider buttons to be rounded. Can you add a border radius setting for the buttons in the CPS Box Pro slider? Because that's the slider that I've added, and I really like the buttons to be rounded in there. Behind the scenes, this message is handled by our AI customer support agent, and it normally wants to clarify a few questions. One of them is with regards to the plan, because it does actually have certain influence on the ability to do things. Professional. So hopefully it should not be too controversial. It takes a while to respond at times. The professional plan includes border radius control for cards, but there is no specific setting for the border radius or slider buttons in the CPS Box Pro slider. Would you like me to submit a feature request to add a border radius setting for slider buttons? Yes, please. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. And you can also see how the support agent is working. Instead of just giving me some generic replies, it actually tries to understand what I'm trying to achieve, and very much kind of takes this kind of particular discussion as a product level request. There is somewhat related feature request about a hero slider with large full width edges, text, and buttons for the homepage. Is it not exactly the same, but close? Would you like me to add your request as a comment or vote? I would like my request to be a stand. There you go. Very chatty, very persistent, which sometimes could be helpful, but sometimes just wanted to get the job done. Your request for a border radius setting for buttons in CPS Box Slider has been added as a standalone feature request. Right, let's actually have a look and see what happens next. So what should have happened, our development agent should have extracted this information from this conversation and put it into the Trello board. So we're going to switch to the Trello board. And there you go, indeed. You can see the new card appearing in Trello. Now the development agent takes over. We're currently using Anthropic Claude Code as our development agent. It ingests the Trello cards and expands it into a detailed technical task specification. And at this stage, the system still keeps a human in a loop checkpoint. So you can see all the actions that have been performed in those comments on the right-hand side. And as a human, let's go ahead and have a look at what sort of description our lovely AI assistant has done. Introduce a new setting within a configuration. The new setting must allow users to specify the border radius for the slider buttons. Okay, sounds about right. If the agent overcomplicates something, which can happen, a human can simplify or adjust the spec before moving the card to the next column and effectively giving it full development. Implementation details. Conduct for testing to confirm the new feature functions correctly. At different devices and screen sizes. That's great. Yeah, I'm probably happy with this description. So I'm going to go ahead and just have a look. See, task move to human review with status ready for code, awaiting human approval. Right. So the way the human approval is currently done is the human would go ahead and move this card in the next column. As it moves to the next column, you can see the status changes. You can go ahead inside the card and see. It was ready for code. Now it has been changed to in progress. Starting development for repository group, FoxSell. And then it specifies the repos that it actually is going to touch, backend, frontend, and the theme app extension. It may not actually need to use all of them, but it's a good practice, as we discovered by trial and error, that it's best for our development agent to actually consider all the existing repos of the app and make sure that nothing is missing, and it's better to be safe than sorry in this instance. All right, so as it started working, and it's been about 5 minutes, we can actually go ahead and check it out in GitHub. Let's go into the front end first and see why that is a new pull request. And indeed, there's a new pull request and border radius setting for buttons in CPS Box Pro Slider. Okay, that's great. So clearly it has kind of started working, which is good. Oh, having some sort of problem with Vercel. Okay, I'm going to come back to that. That's fine. Let's actually go ahead and see what's going on elsewhere. Let's see if the backend has also started to do a pull request. And indeed, there's also a pull request here in the backend, which is quite cool. Let's go back and see whether anything started happening in the extension. Oops, one more. App extension. Don't think it's actually, no, it did get to the app extension and border radius setting for buttons in CPS Box Pro Slider. So the app extension is also being used. No conflicts with base branch. Okay, cool. So that actually shows us that it started to work across all 3 repos, and it checks and makes sure that everything is working well. Oh, in the meantime, I think it's just actually moved. Yep, the card has just been moved to the view. And you can see the label has also changed to resolve review. If we go back, we can see what happened in the meantime. It gives us a quick summary. Development finished for task, repository group FoxSell, total repositories, and it also tells me what has been committed where. I can actually go ahead, click on the link, and it will bring me right into a particular repository that I want to check and see what has been done. So it's really convenient that way. Okay, and then it tells me what sort of issues are remaining. And now it says that actually there are 0 remaining issues. So what you're seeing here is the results of an autonomous development cycle, which has been completed. Depending on the complexity of the task, it may take from anywhere from 5 to 25 minutes in our experience. And as you've seen, the card has been automatically moved to review initially. And as it was in this kind of review stage, for review, we're using models from OpenAI. The review agent analyzes the pull requests and leaves structured review comments, covering potential bugs, architectural improvements, performance considerations, and edge cases. Again, just as expectations, the review process can also take anywhere from 2-3 minutes to 25. And during that time, the agent is systematically evaluating the code base and generating detailed feedback. Initially, we had a few problems of cyclical nature, which we managed to resolve, and since then it's been working pretty well. So it's good to actually have the visibility via the entire process. And finally, if we look here, it moved the card into the accept pull request column, and basically it has resurfaced all the 3 repositories where it has committed the code, and we can actually go ahead and accept them. And once the PR is ready and the human review is satisfied, they simply follow the GitHub link embedded into the Trello cards and merge the pull request. Check if we are happy with the code, and if we are, we can actually go ahead and merge the pull request. But just to be on the safe side, let's go again and see. Okay, that has been actually done before, as we attempted to do a similar functionality a couple of days ago. So it has been updated today. No, that's correct. Okay, so that is actually the latest change we've done, and no issues, as opposed to a small issue which has been identified before with Vercel. Let's see, the latest deployment was done about a day ago, so we probably need to go ahead and push it into deployment. We can say merge pull request. Okay, confirm merge. Right, it has been merged. Let's see whether the deployment is going to go ahead automatically. Perhaps not, so we might still need to trigger that, I think. Let me try and trigger the deployment. See if that could be done. Just now, if I deploy hook, there you go. And let's see if it's going to build. And once we're kind of satisfied with the development, we can move this card into the latest column here, done. And then the new feature request will come in and go through the similar motions in this semi-autonomous way, as we've been showing before. Right, let's have a look and see whether the build has finished. The app extension deployment normally happens pretty quickly, as you can see, 50 seconds, 45 seconds. So it shouldn't take too long, but it's taken a while. So before we wrap up, I thought it would be good to mention a couple of other points. Oh, it's ready now. So let's maybe go ahead and see whether the deployment has been successful. Okay, let's go ahead and refresh this page after what seemed to be a successful deployment. So we're now back into the FoxSell slider. And let's see if the border radius, there you go. The button border radius is now here as a new setting, which has just been added. We're going to say 25. And let's see what happens to the buttons. There you go. The buttons now look nice and rounded. So does the card as well of the slider. So before wrapping up, let me just mention a couple of things that we are actually working on trying to optimize the workflow. One of the key improvements we implemented is the constraining and guiding the development agent a bit more precisely. We've introduced structured MD instructions files inside the repository that define explicit boundaries and some architectural principles. And these files act as guardrails for the development agent. We hope it will reduce their over-engineering, improve consistency, and should also increase execution efficiency. So you've got the CloudMD file, which does contain the project overview, the tech stack, some key commands, a very sort of high-level architecture, which normally is quite helpful for the agent, and some key conventions and the configuration as well. In other words, instead of relying purely on general reasoning, the agent operates within clearly defined development contract. That's kind of the larger idea behind it. We also added the configuration layer, and effectively, we now give development agents access to Shopify Dev MCP. Specifically, the Claude R is configured to interact with Shopify Development MCP instance and deployed node environments that we run on Google Cloud, which allows the agent to access structured development capabilities, interact with the Shopify dev environments in more deterministic way, and operate within a controlled server-side execution layer rather than purely prompt-based interactions. Yeah, still work in progress, but more than happy to jump on a call and answer any questions, and again, maybe run through a similar workflow and within, hopefully a slightly quicker time frame. Thank you.